So this is the latest addition to our kit, this box here. It was a Christmas present from my parents, which I really appreciate. It is very similar to a Pelican case, but it is not a Pelican case. It's essentially a clone, but it's made of pretty tough plastic. It's a reasonable weight. It's actually got some wheels on it as well on the side and a handle that pulls out this end here. But the reason it's really cool is it comes already preloaded with a foam that's pre-cut, and you can pull out the pieces and make spaces for everything to go to keep everything kind of neat and tidy. It's kind of handy for the studio as well because it can sit in a cupboard or just in the corner, and if I need anything I can get to it straight away, as opposed to having everything in shelves or boxes or in bags or whatever. So let me just open it up and let's see you know, how I've arranged it. So it's got 4 clips like that, and then if you lift it up you can see what I've done here. So there's a space at the minute because I'm using the camera up there to film this, but it didn't take very long. If you look carefully you can see, you know, when you can see like individual squares, and you can just pull them out quite easily to fit what you've got. So this pretty much fits all of our primary gear. There's a bunch of other stuff you can see off to the side here, which we might put in another box or a bag or whatever if we're going to film something. Up until recently, you know, if we wanted to go film stuff, if we went to the Colorize gig or the Junior gigs or whatever, we always ask for permission first if we can film, and then you know, we roll up with a rucksack, and it's kind of hard sometimes, especially in a dark environment. You're trying to rustle through the bag to try and find stuff. Or if you're at the cave gig, you know, our cave gigs you might have seen on the channel as well, it's nice to have something that you can secure up tight. If you open it up, you can see exactly what you've got and where things are. So what do we got in here? I'd say probably the most important piece of kit that we've been using recently. We're using one right now to film this, but this is an Osmo 6, so DJI Action Osmo Action 6. We're filming using the Osmo Action 5 right now. I got the Osmo Action 6 as well because it has even better low light performance. The Osmo Action 5 is pretty good low light, but the Osmo Action 6 is superb, and it also has the ability to change the lens as well. So you can fit different lenses on there as well, which is kind of useful. I've not got any lenses for it just yet, but I might get into that, see what we can do. The other thing we do with the DJIs is, I guess you can do the same thing for GoPros as well, is get a cage. You can see this has got a cage here, so it opens up like this and like this. So you can access the battery door and the memory card, or you know, this section where you got the charging lead, like that, slide it. Yeah, so that's for the charging port. Especially useful if you're filming like long sets, like when we recently filmed at the cave event. You know, we're filming from 8 p.m. until 2 a.m. And so the batteries are pretty good. They last like 3 or 4 hours, but to be sure you can plug them into the USB, keep them running the whole time. The other good thing about the cages is they have various fitments. So you've got your standard, I think is a 1/4 inch connector, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's a standardized connection size for camera gear. You can still access the magnetic fit for you know, kind of standard GoPro style connection, which is pretty useful. So that's a definite recommended piece of kit if you're filming DJ sets in a club or outside. They're really useful, or indeed for making content like this today. Really recommend that. Of course, that can pair up with a number of things, such as this. So here we have this kind of, I think it's called a gorilla pod, tripod, gorilla pod. So it's got that aforementioned 1/4 inch connection on the top here, and then you've got these kind of really useful bendy arms, legs, whatever you want to call them, and you can wrap them around things or just use them simply as a a small tripod. Particularly useful sitting in front of the decks, like that, put the camera on that and it's looking back at the DJ. That's really useful. So recommend one of those. Other thing, for those DJI cameras, you can get a kit that comes with additional batteries. It's a pretty good thing to do, although to be honest, it's rare that we are filming where we need to swap batteries, because if we film for a long time, we'll probably just plug the thing in. But this is a useful thing to have as well. So another item pairs really well with the DJI is, no surprise, the DJI microphones. So I'm using them at the moment, but you've got 2 microphones in each pot here, and this has got a battery in it as well, so you can keep this charged, and then when you put the mics back in, although they do tend to last quite a long time, they'll kind of recharge themselves back up. You've also got this device as well, which goes with the microphones, and you can fit this on top of a camera and use that to plug in to the camera, so you can record the sound direct to the camera as well. It's kind of useful, especially if you're doing recording people speaking or whatever, and you want to make sure that the audio is in sync with the video. That's kind of useful. So that's pretty cool, recommend that. Getting on to some other things here, I've got a oldish iPhone here. It's a iPhone 15 Pro. Of course, I've got my own iPhone that I use every day, but I kept my old one because this one's got a pretty decent camera on it. It's actually quite good in low light as well, and it's really good if you pair it with something like this, which is the Beast Grip. So Beast Grip's really useful. You can clamp your camera in it like this. It's got a spring-loaded thing, so camera's in there, so it makes it easier to hold. You can also it's also got many of the 1/4-inch mounting points here as well, so you can put things like this little GoPro style connector on it, and then you can mount it to GorillaPod. You can mount it to things like a magic arm, so if you want to, these magic arm things are quite useful. Got a few of these around, so you can screw that into the bottom there, and then attach it to another point as well, which is really useful. So that's another thing I recommend. So next we've got our main camera here. It's a Sony ZV-E10. It's in a cage as well, same reasons. We've got other things in a cage because you've got the connection points, which are really useful. It's also got a built-in foot. Can't remember the particular type. I think it's Arca Swiss. I'm not an expert in camera fitting types, but that means you can connect it to things like this. This is a SmallRig tripod top. Tell me what it's called in the comments, please. So you can clamp it on quite nicely there, and then use it in a variety of different ways. So particularly good in low light. It's got the prime lens here, 16mm Sigma lens, f1.4. Pretty decent for taking main camera shots if we're shooting outdoors, where we have the freedom of mounting the camera on a tripod in front of the artist. Then you get a nice depth of field with this camera. We always shoot both in the DJIs and this camera in the kind of a log setting or a raw setting if it's available. That means that when we get the footage back into the computer, you got as much information as you possibly can have to use. Especially useful if you're shooting in low light again, where you're trying to make the best out of an image where you don't have all of the high levels of light that you would ideally want. So there's that. We've also got this small auxiliary screen. As you just saw on the Sony ZV-E10, the screen's relatively small on the back, so it's quite useful to have a small screen like this as part of your rig, because then you can see more easily what's in focus or not, especially because this one has got kind of enhanced focus lines, so it'll show you where the crisp edges are, highlight them in red or whatever color you choose. Also, it can also represent exposure using zebras as well, so you can see whether parts of your picture are under or overexposed, which is pretty useful. This one has not got a cage, although I have been looking for a cage for this for a while. So if you know of a cage that fits a Feel World F5 Pro version 4, then let us know. We use a lot of SmallRig stuff, relatively inexpensive, really nice quality metal fit-in, so you can mount that there, and then you can put that into the cold shoe of one of the cages on the rig. So yeah, it's good stuff. Okay, on to the drones. We've got 2 drones. I had drones for a little while. Started out a good few years ago with the DJI Phantom 4, and then I sold that, and then got this this one here, which is a Mini 3 Pro. So it's a sub 250 gram drone. So that means that you have more freedom with the flying of it. Obviously, it's much safer. Because in the relatively unlikely event, I would say, that it randomly falls out of the sky, it's less likely to hurt somebody. There are lots of rules, though, of course, about where you should fly drones, and you need to respect that. We're a registered drone pilot, so we're all kind of above board, if you like. But this drone is really excellent. It can shoot in 4K. It's okay in low light, but not amazing. So if you are filming something after dark or dusk, then you do need to be thoughtful about how you take your images and how you set the drone up. Typically we film in 25 frames per second, 1/50 shutter speed. It's typically recommended to kind of have double the shutter speed to the frame rate, so that you get a degree of motion blur as well, so that makes things look a bit nicer. Again, we always film in, I think it's Cinelog on this one, which means that we've got the facility to edit the colors afterwards on the computer. And by the way, we use DaVinci Resolve for all of the video editing work. Really like that software. It's also really well supported online, so lots of people, lots of YouTubers helpfully doing lots of tutorials on how to do various things, which is really handy. Oh, one more thing on the drone, I always recommend that you do is you get an NV filter. So you can see just the kind of red outline there. The drone as standard comes with a just a plain lens shield. You can unclip that and then fit these NV filters, ND filters I should say, which are really useful because it allows you to get that shutter speed that I mentioned down low without the footage being too bright. So the ND filters like wearing a pair of sunglasses. And you have various types of ND filters, various kind of opacity levels, if you like. So you can set that based upon the weather, the sunlight, etc. Let's put that one back in there. Yeah, and as an example, here's our ND filters by a company called Freewell. There you can see there's the original kind of plain filter, and then you've got various levels there from very dark up to less dark, and then even within that you can adjust these a little bit further by rotating them, and that helps you fine-tune the exposure on the drone. So there's that. With drones, mentioned batteries before, but I really recommend getting as many batteries as you possibly can. This particular drone flies like 20 something minutes, and so you can quickly get through a bunch of batteries. So if you get one of these, I really recommend you get extra batteries. When I got this one, there was a particular offer where you could get the drone with the batteries and a bag and things like that, and so that's really useful. So we've got those there. Okay, moving on to the next drone, we've got a DJI Avata 2. Whereas the other drone is more of a cinematic drone, so it flies kind of flat, if you like. This one is a FPV drone, and so you can get more kind of dynamic shots because it will fly and angle itself in line with the shot that it's taking. It's also much more faster, and you can do aerobatics and stuff like that, but I haven't really done much of that really. But this one's really nice to pair with the cinematics. You get kind of different types of footage. Same deal again with this one in that you can fit an ND filter, slightly different shape obviously. They are here. Yeah, so here's the ND filters. These ones are by Niwa. So again, for the same reason, having the shutter speed and the relationship between the shutter speed and the frame rate, so that you get a nice cinematic motion blur when you're filming. By using the appropriate ND filter, you can get that really dialed in. One thing I should mention actually with the Avatar is it's probably a better idea to film it at a higher frame rate and then a higher shutter speed, so that if you want to do any slow-mos, you can do that without, but at the same time you've kept the frames. So if you film at 50 frames per second, for instance, and you slow it down to half, then you still got 25 frames per second, which still means the slow motion footage looks relatively smooth. So that's a little tip. Not that I'm an expert here, but that has been useful knowledge to have. With the Avata 2, because it's an FPV drone, you do use FPV goggles. So I've got the kit with the DJI goggles 2, really easy to use. They've got eyewear glasses, as you probably know, so they've got built-in adjustment for prescription, so you can dial that in. You can dial in the distance between your eyes, your PD, make them comfortable. The battery's on the back, so it means it's nicely balanced. So far, I'd say, even though lots of people claim huge range for the Avata 2, I've had really good range for the DJI Mini 3 Pro. The Avata 2 range has been less good. Apparently there are some settings you can change to make it better, so if you know anything about that, I'd be really interested to hear from you as to your experience with the Avata 2 and how you've managed to increase the range. Okay, I think that's everything in this box. Oh, one more thing. Yeah, batteries. You can never have too much batteries. I've got two, actually, there's another one down in there as well. These batteries are really good. They are quite large. Let's see. Yeah, they're 9,600 milliamp hours. This is a standard battery for many devices, the NP-F960 or the NP-F970. These batteries are really useful. You've got an output, USB-A output. Strangely, they charge with USB-C, but they've only got a USB-A output, but they're really good. They can clip on the back of this, for instance, so you can lock it into the screen and then power devices off the back of it as well. So that's really useful. So I recommend having batteries like this. And then on the subject of power, good to have a decent charger. This charger, this is the second version that I've had. The only reason I've got a second one is because I accidentally left it in a taxi at ADE. So if you're the lucky recipient of one of these 70 watt chargers, then congrats to you. I hope you give it a good home. You've got 3 USB-C outputs, 2 USB-A, and then all the various plug socket types from around the world so you can plug into, and then multiple inputs as well. Really recommend this kit. It's a really good buy. The brand Momax One World GAN 70 watts. You can actually charge a laptop, a MacBook off this, which is pretty useful. Okay, so other things that are not in this box here. Lights. So we've got various types of lights, but this is the one we keep coming back to because it's quite small and it's got nice clips on it. It's got the ability to adjust the temperature, color temperature, and to adjust the brightness of it. It's got a built-in battery and it just works. So it's kind of useful just to, if you're filming in a club or in a dark environment, you can just put this on. It's not so, well, you can set it so it's not so bright that, you know, people will get annoyed. But really useful to have a piece of kit like that. Other things I'd recommend, gimbal. So we have an RS3 Mini. As you might have guessed so far, I do like DJI stuff. It's always really good quality. The software's nice as well. So we use this in combination with the Sony ZV-E10. It's really easy to set up. Got things like this as well, so you can set it up and stand it up as well, which is really kind of useful. And then also a bit of a must-have if you're using a gimbal with a camera. They do get heavy after a while, and so we've got this strap here from SmallRig, so that you can fit onto this, so that you can take some of the strain on your back rather than just on your arms. Really recommend that. So yeah, this is a great piece of kit. Relatively inexpensive, I think, for what they are. They're pretty complex things. Really useful. Other bits and pieces. So this is a GoPro device actually, but again, just another means of mounting a camera. This one's quite good because you've got these really quite powerful jaws that can grab onto things. And then you've got your standard kind of GoPro style mount on the top there, so you can clip all sorts of things to that. Another thing, useful, small piece of kit, you never know when you're going to need it. Another means of mounting a phone. This is a SmallRig. So if you want to run a secondary camera sometimes, because sometimes you're worried about not getting the footage or something not being exactly as you want, you can mount an iPhone in parallel to your main camera. So if all else fails, you have got some footage. Useful piece of kit to have. And I think last item here, this is for use within a car. So we have done some shots using vehicles. This particular one is by Delkin Devices. It's known as the Fat Gecko. This enables you to attach to windows essentially, and then you can mount whatever you want off the back of it. Again, it's got the standard 1/4" mounting piece there, so you can mount that on the window. It's really quite powerful. You get to, kind of got these big clamps here. Once it's on really well. And you can mount extension bars off the top of this. You can mount your camera off it. You can mount the gimbal off it if you're brave. I haven't done that yet, but yeah, this Delkin Fat Gecko, another good piece of kit to have around you. One item I've had less luck with, I had this camera. It's a GoPro Hero Session. I picked it up really cheap a long time ago. It's okay, but not in low light. So useful for an auxiliary camera, maybe if you want to, film the mixer and have some close-up shots of the mixer, you can use that, providing it's got some good light. And I think that's about it. So hopefully that's useful to you. Any recommendations for a kit that would augment this? I think we've got enough camera gear now for doing what we do, but any other useful utilities, little pieces of hardware that you recommend, yeah, let us know in the comments.